Hello, welcome back to Watercolor Week, where I'm going through all the basics of watercolor. I'm Beatriz Fedeli, and for today's lessons, we're gonna focus on something that is very important: values. When I refer to value in watercolor, I'm referring to the lightness or the darkness that a color has. This is something that is important to practice because we use value all the time in all of our paintings. And the more you practice and the more you get it, you will see that your paintings improve immensely. So without further ado, let's new lesson for the watercolor basics. Today we're going to be talking all about value. When I'm talking to value, what I'm referring to, especially in watercolor, is how the lightness of darkest of one color, how we go from light to dark. I'm sure that you haven't seen some of the scales. In watercolor, we adjust the value of the colors by diluting or thickening the paint mixture. Right now, think about value in watercolors as how diluted or concentrated your paint is, and that is what it will make your color look lighter or darker in your page. So we're gonna demonstrate value by doing a value scale. I'm gonna show you how to do it in two different ways, and then we will do a little sketch where we can put them together so you get to see it more. One of the ways is like by getting we're gonna do it with the green. I wet my brush, I get a lot of paint, and we're gonna go from dark to light. So I carry a lot of paint in my brush, and this will be the darker on a scale. A lot of pigment, little water. Now I need to start lighting this up, so I bring more just by putting water into my brush, and then I start going here. So I added a little bit of water, same paint that I was having before. If I keep doing that, get more water, then I continue to get it lighter. It's the same paint. I have not dipped it into any more water. I'm getting a little too much water here, so I'm just gonna take some of the water out so that I can spread it better. And my squares are getting too small. They get a little bit bigger. And then now I basically just gonna rinse my brush, take some of that water out right here. And yeah, no, this looks like almost if it is nothing, but sometimes we need this really, really light value into our paintings. I mean, I made it with 5. You can make it up to 10, have in between. But this is one way. You get the more, you start getting more pigment, then you keep adding water. The other way to do it is like, I will come here, get some of this pigment, add a lot of water, and go from light to dark. So, water, and then I start bringing my light color. Now to this pile of water right here, I bring a little extra pigment. And these values is something that we use in our paintings and watercolors all the time. Now I keep bringing a little extra paint, kind of the opposite of what we did before. You see how each time my squares are getting with more color. I barely dip the tip of my brush. Bring it to this one. Getting a little darker. Get more. My brush is getting dry, so I'm barely gonna dip the tip of my brush. Need to get a little more of the paint. Oops, that's almost the same color. Let's get a little darker. More paint. Darken it. more paint. You get the idea. You see how I keep making darker, darker, darker. Every time getting more paint. And a little too dry. The paint is not leaving my brush. But because I brought water, I dilute it, so I come and get a little more of that paint. And then I get my dark color. And the darkest of all will be like basically getting that and very little water. So same color, the amount of water that I was bringing, I'm able to get all these different values out of one same color. Let's just do a little sketch of how this applies for a painting. So I'm gonna get a bigger brush. Let's just start with the number 8. I'm gonna start with a very, very, very light mixture. So we're gonna have a good range here of color, a lot of water, a little bit of paint. So we're gonna start with the sky. We want to have a very, very light value for this. I'm not sure. I get a little extra water. Not sure if it will show good in the picture and the video. I'll try to get it closer in a minute. Let's just make kind of like a little mountain scene, and let's just pretend it is this big. We don't need to get it any bigger. It's just gonna be a sketch. So I'm putting my sky. Yeah, green sky. It's okay. And keep bringing water. Okay, and now we are, I know I've made it bigger than what it has to be, but that's okay. One thing that is very important though is we need to let this dry right now. So we're gonna okay, so I used my hair dryer so that I could speed up the process. And now we're gonna go ahead and start with the second value. So now we're gonna dip my brush and get a little bit more pigment into my color. Not a whole lot, we just wanna build the scene gradually. So a step farther than the sky. And we're gonna get a little bit extra water, like one set of mountains. Let's just say we go over here, get maybe a little more water. So I'm just marking that, and then I'll bring in the color down. As we do this, we're also gonna have to let this one dry before we can go on to the next. So okay, now it's dry. I'm switching to my brush that carries slightly more water, because as you can see, I don't know if you can see, this got a little streaky because I'm working on a scrap piece of 300-pound paper and it needs more water. My brush was too small. So now we're gonna go ahead and start with a slightly darker value than the one that we use. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put one that is darker than this in this area, and then I'm gonna put in this other area one that is darker than this one. Let me show you. Okay. So we're gonna have in this end, let's get a little more. The next value, say we put a mountain right here. This will be kind of like a third value. And then let's just add a tiny little bit more for our fourth value, and we're gonna put a different one, say right here. Okay, now these are dry, and now we're gonna make two more values. So we're gonna do the second to last dark green value, color, a little more color. We can try and a little scrap paper to see. That's almost the same, so it tells me that I need a little more color. So now that's how I got a little bit darker. What we're gonna do is, so that's just looking like a painting, we're gonna bring it down and start adding with the tip of my brush like if they are little trees. We're gonna let this dry. So as I am applying the darker value, let's recap. Value is simply how light or dark a color appears, and it is one of the most powerful tools that we have for building depth. Watch this mountain sketch. The far peaks stay in the latest values, almost fading into the sky, and that alone creates a sense of distance where no details are needed. Now, as we keep getting darker, everything moves forward, giving the sense a real three-dimensional punch. Without the full range, the painting will feel flat and lifeless. So whether you are thinking if your painting is done, always think, do I have enough value contrast? That alone will always make you create a better painting. And since we are playing with value, let me show you another fun way where you can use it. You could use this to create flowers. Say we use a lot of water. Let me put it on this other side here. And say, for example, I'm creating some petals. I'll start with the light ones. Oops. So this is all pretty similar. But now if I switch and get a thicker value, like thicker paint, all is well. If I just put it here in the center, you see how all of a sudden it gives more three-dimension to my flower. And if I go and get even more thicker paint, now I could also get a different color, say, and then put a little bit of balloons. Say I start with a very pale mix. You get a brown. I rinse my brush, and then now I lighten it up by soaking some of that color in water. I could once again come back with dark color and make a darker one here, or put it a little bit here and see where the water goes. Put it on the tip. This is I use this a lot for when I do flowers. I start with the lighter color, then I come with the darker one, and then I rinse, clean it up, and then let the color and the water make my dark medium. So as you can see, you can have a lot of fun with this, but as you are having the fun, you are practicing your values. So you can do a scale, you can do a little landscape, you can play with flowers or shapes. Just practice your values. The more you practice, have fun while you're doing it, but the more you practice, the more second nature that will come to you. So there it is. I hope that you enjoy it, number one, and then that you learn something. If you like what you saw, or if you need to keep refreshing, check the other watercolor videos that I'm making on this series. I'll see you next time.